Coach Ben here to explain the 3-5-2 formation. The 3-5-2 formation is a popular modern soccer formation and is known for its balanced approach to offense and defense. The formation consists of 3 central defenders, 5 midfielders, and 2 strikers, and the wingbacks providing attacking width. The 3-5-2 formation allows teams to defend in a compact shape while providing them an attacking outlet on the wings. The 3-5-2 formation has several benefits. It is often used to control the middle of the field because of the numerical advantage. The formation also provides more attacking options than traditional 4-4-2 formations and allows for more flexible transitions between attack and defense. Additionally, the 3-5-2 formation allows for a balanced approach to offense and defense, as the wingbacks provide additional defensive cover while still being able to contribute to the attack. This formation is a great starting option for an 11v11 team, as each player will have specific roles in their positions. With these roles understood, the team can focus on passing the ball rather than using their energy to fill the space by running and dribbling, with the exception of the wingbacks. While the 3-5-2 formation has several benefits, it also has some drawbacks. One of the main drawbacks is that it can be vulnerable to counterattacks, especially if the wingbacks push high up the pitch. Additionally, the formation requires a disciplined defensive structure, and mistakes from the central defenders can be costly. The 3-5-2 formation can be limited in terms of width when attacking, with less of the attacking play coming down the wings. The wingbacks must be fit and capable of handling the physical transition between offense and defense and back to offense. Unless the team played previously with a formation such as a 3-3-2, where the play was quite narrow, it will be difficult to adjust to the majority of the play occurring up the spine of the formation. And finally, not every team can implement the 3-5-2. It requires the right players in the right positions with the right attitudes and mentality. Now that we know a bit more about the pros and cons to the formation, it is time to cover the fundamentals of the 3-5-2. The formation consists of 3 center backs, 5 midfielders, 2 of which are wingbacks, and a combination of 3 central midfielders, and 2 strikers in a strike partnership. The 3 central midfielders can be structured differently depending on the team, but most traditionally they line up with a triangle, with 2 hanging back as center mids or center defensive mids, and the third playing as a cam or a center forward. Now let's walk through each of these positions in more detail. First up are the center backs. The first thought that comes to mind for these players is defense, but if played correctly, the team should have a significant amount of possession, and the center back should be a key component of maintaining that possession. The center backs need to be strong on the ball and have a great ability to receive and make passes. They will be the backbone of the team. If they can learn to utilize a keeper as well, they can fatigue the opposing attackers. Defensively, they need to be solid defenders and have the understanding and ability to cover for each other. They need to be very aggressive on 50-50 balls, but understand that they cannot allow attackers to dribble past them. They need to contain the attack and stall so that the midfielders can recover and support. Now on to the wingbacks. Critical to the success of the center backs are the wingbacks. When the center backs are in possession of the ball, they need to position themselves as outlets for passes. Even if they don't get the pass, their movement should pull opposition players out of position to allow teammates more time on the ball. Once in possession in the defensive half, they should be looking immediately for a pass. If none are available, they should either try to take the space and play the ball to the corner for a striker to run onto it. The center mids will be shifting over to support, so there should be an outlet or 2. In the attacking half, their focus should be either on swinging in across to the strikers, or working the ball to the middle through the midfielders or strikers. The opposite wingback should be getting into position on the back post for a cross or a rebound. On defense, the wingbacks need to immediately transition into defense when the offense turns over the ball. They should aim to drop back in between the center back and midfielder lines, but wide. They need to aggressively make tackles and force the attackers wide. The wingbacks will need to be physically fit and ready to run the entire time they're on the pitch. This is one of the most exhausting positions on the team, but also one of the most rewarding. The center midfielders are the heart of the team. Whether they play in a 2-1 formation or a flat 3, they are responsible for making the transition from defense to offense. Whether the ball comes from a center back or a wing back, it is their job to move the ball forward to strikers or further advanced wing backs. They need to have amazing control and sense of the field. Just as importantly, they need to be experts at passing. Their focus will be to keep the touches to a minimum and use the ball to advance the play rather than the dribble. They must be quick to transition between offense and defense phases of the game. As opposed to center backs being critical defenders, the midfielders are actually the primary line of defense. It is their job to drop back and make the tackles in the center of the pitch, or force the play wide for the wingbacks to make the tackles. The center midfielder's ability to transition will determine the team's ability to have numerical advantages on offense or defense. Finally, we have the strikers. Their job is to score. In order to do that, they must understand the play and how it is developed. They must be able to get into dangerous positions at the right times. This includes checking to the ball, running in behind the defense, and swapping positions with advancing teammates. Once in front of the goal, they need to be ruthless and have an insatiable desire to score. In a strike partnership, they should focus on maintaining a consistent distance from their partner, typically around 15 to 20 yards. This provides enough space for solid passes, but also it is far enough to prevent defenders from being able to mark them easily. In this section, we will discuss strategy, both offensive and defensive. Before we talk strategy, it is important to understand the phases of the game. There are 3 phases to attack, and they revolve around the 3 lines of players. Phase 1 is in the defensive third, Phase 2 is in the midfield third, and Phase 3 is the attacking third. Phase 1 is about possession in the defensive third. In this phase, it is critical to maintain possession with as little risk as possible. If the team were to turn over the ball in this phase, it would most certainly lead to the opposition scoring or having a great opportunity. Success in this phase is dependent on the center backs, wing backs, and central midfielders moving into spaces to receive the ball and move it intelligently to the next best option. The goal is to eventually move the ball forward, but when the opportunities are right. Keeping possession in this phase will encourage the opposition to try to win the ball back at the expense of their energy. Phase 2 is when the team has the opportunity to be creative. The midfielders have the freedom here to create opportunities to move the ball forward. These opportunities are created through passing and moving, not dribbling. Dribbling slows the game down in this phase and should be discouraged unless it is to get into position to make a pass. This is especially true in the younger years of 11v11, when the players are adapting to the larger field and may not yet have the endurance. The focus of Phase 2 should be to quickly get to Phase 3 and create opportunities. Phase 3 is the attacking phase. This is where the team must break down the defensive lines and find a way to score. Unless on a counterattack or breakaway, this could be a patient phase. This might involve cycling the ball around through the midfielders and side to side, or attacking directly with balls in behind the defense and forwards running onto them. It is a challenge to continue to use this direct approach as the attackers will get exhausted from making those runs. It is important to not try to force the ball when there is no opportunity. It will likely require players to shift out of formational positions and creating time and space for teammates. Any and all players involved in this phase are expected to try to score. Scoring goals is the target of this phase, and when the opportunities are created, they need to be finished. Not all opportunities will be equal, and nor will the players in those positions be, who try to finish them, but they should be encouraged for their positioning and attempt. If players get discouraged, they will no longer get into those scoring positions, and the chances will be wasted. We know Phase 1 is about maintaining possession and working the ball forward, but to do this in a 3-5-2, we need to understand the intricacies of the formation. With 3 center backs, they need to work together to get into positions to receive and pass to each other, but the midfielders are critical in maintaining possession. Their movement needs to create passing lanes in the middle of the field, while the wingbacks provide outlets along the sidelines. If the ball moves to the left or the right, all of the players need to shift to support the ball. If the opportunity presents itself, a well-played cross to shift the play will provide opportunities to exploit the empty spaces left by the shift. They should not be afraid to frustrate the enemy strikers by making them run all over the field. When the enemy is able to provide enough pressure to take away passing lanes, the player should not be afraid to utilize the keeper. When trailing a pass to the keeper, they should never pass directly at the goal, as the keeper should shift to the side in anticipation of being part of the phase. If a pass to the keeper is too difficult to control, it could either lead to an own goal or turnover of possession in an extremely dangerous position. In this example on the screen, I have shown a 3-5-2 playing against a 4-3-3, one of the most common formations. As you watch through it, you will see how it pulls the opposition out of formation by just keeping possession in the first phase. With strikers and center mids moving into open positions to receive a pass, it will pull defenders with them, opening up new spaces in behind. Phase 2 is where the strength of the 3-5-2 formation really shines with an overload of midfielders. Maintaining possession is easier when there is a numerical advantage, which is exactly what this formation offers in all phases, but it really shines in Phase 2. If the play slows too much, the opposition will recover and cut out this advantage. The ball needs to be passed around quickly and remain dynamic with players moving off the ball and creating passing lanes. Players need to keep touches to a minimum, focusing on 1, 2, or maybe 3 touches at max. This can be a challenge for players as the midfield should offer more space and time on the ball, but we should try to emulate players such as Lionel Messi, Luka Modric, and Kevin De Bruyne, who are extremely effective in the midfield and on the ball, but rarely take more than a few touches before making a pass and moving into position for the return pass. Advancing from Phase 2 into 3, the mentality isn't going to change from pass and move, but the intention now is to become more aggressive and risky in opportunity pursuit. In order to create and capitalize on these opportunities, players need to be actively moving into threatening positions. This starts with the wingbacks overlapping the team, and either receiving a pass or at least drawing a defender out of the middle to create more room. With more space and greater numbers, the center midfield trio can work together with the strikers to complete give and goes, cycle the ball to another part of the field, or look to play a direct through ball. The strikers and cams should focus on completing wall passes back to the CMs so they can try to draw out the defenders. Once a defensive line has been broken or pushed back enough to get a cross or a pass into the middle, the strikers, center midfielders, and opposite wingback need to be ready to pounce and finish the opportunity. In this example, there is a significant numerical advantage with 7 attackers and 4 defenders. The team won't be in possession the entire game, so we need to talk some defensive strategy as well. When looking at the defensive options, there are 2 primary methods to execute. They are the high block and the low block. Regardless of the formation, these strategies can be applied or changed throughout the game. A high block involves pressuring the opposition defenders when they have the ball, and this would require strikers and midfielders to aggressively pressure not only the player on the ball, but also every player within proximity of a pass. If successful, the team will have the ability to immediately counterattack and score a goal. But if the defenders are able to beat the press, they will have an opportunity to quickly strike as the team's players are too far forward and unable to support in defense. This method of defense is referred to as gegenpressing, and was made popular in Germany and adopted by teams across the world like Liverpool, St. Louis City, and New York Red Bulls, to name a few. Another form of defense is the low block, or parking the bus. It involves everyone dropping back into defensive positions, and this allows the opposition to have significant possession, but allows the team to conserve energy by not constantly chasing the ball. The intent here is to create a defensive shell that is impenetrable by the attackers. This requires the defenders to defend conservatively and cutting out passing lanes. It is a frustrating defensive strategy to play against, but effective if the players execute their roles. In conclusion, the 3-5-2 soccer formation is a versatile and effective formation for modern soccer. It provides a balanced approach to offense and defense, while still allowing for attacking options. While the formation does have some drawbacks, It's been used successfully by several soccer teams both at the national and club levels. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. Your support means the world to us. And hey, while you're here, why not explore some of our other awesome videos? Just click on the thumbnails right over there.